Well, I guess I'd go live a little bit before my time, and I hope that it's towards your benefit. Let me just, here we go. There we are. All right. I'm glad that you can join me today for my webcast. I have some very important information to share with you, my listeners, the ones that's been coming, checking me out week after week after week. I've been recognizing the counts, and I'm grateful that I have a handful of individuals that loves to come to my website. Well, I told you guys that I was going to be frank about my medical conditions, and there's a few people visiting the house today. So that's what you hear in the background. As a matter of fact, one of them was supposed to appear with me, but I think he got a little cold feet. I wanted to entitle this presentation Feeling the Tension because I was having a discussion. Hello, Mark Smith, and good afternoon. It's good to have you here with me hanging out. Um, I was talking a little bit with someone about being real with themselves, being real with others, um, not not only not being fake, but real in every way about what's taking place in your life. I told you a couple of weeks ago that I had a tumor under my left arm. Went to have it diagnosed. Well, it came back as a tumor that is cancerous, meaning that it's malignant. That means that it's growing, eating, and multiplying. And I don't know whether at a rapid rate. I didn't get what stage it's in, but it's there. And uh, the cancer is a part of me, and I'm a part of it. And so now I've officially gotten on the bandwagon of being a cancer patient, I guess. And yes, it is somewhat painful, but containable. I suffer a high degree of pain, so I don't. You won't see me squinting and doing that unless it really is exasperating me. But I want to continue my little talks and spreading of wisdom to you because there is a need for you to become more and more enlightened about what's going on in your lives. And that's why I'm here. I think I had a writ on my website, and oh, here comes my guest. I had a writ on my website that I wanted to share with you concerning today's cast, talking about this is what I want to do. I want to talk, first of all, to you senior citizens like myself, to the old people, to those of us that are still here, number one. Secondly, who am I talking to? If you're black and you're old, you're a senior citizen and you're African American or third world or Hispanic. Not if you're WASP, not like that. Because if you're that, and you know what I mean by WASP, a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, doesn't mean that I'm racist or biased. It means that no, this is a means. Uh, yeah, his ride came. He had to leave. Uh, this is a means for you to hone in on what I'm about to say for the next hour. Um, all right. I should have had the paragraph to read. You have to go to my website to read it. It's on my, I can get it on my phone. Let me get it because I'd like to read it to you. And it is self explanatory. if you go to my website and read this stuff. Yeah, there it is. Okay, pops right up. And I want to read it to you, and so that you will know, oh, it's going to play that game with me, what I said. It, it says that I have been diagnosed with a cancerous tumor. And then I said on May the 17th, 2024. I want to keep you guys informed about everything that's going on in my life. And I just don't like this print that's on this thing right here. So let me, because I do want to read it to you. Just a second. Let me move some things around, and so that I could do this without making a complete mess of everything. Oh, here it is right here. This is now I can read it and you can understand it. Let me take that off. I've been diagnosed with a cancerous tumor as of May the 17th, 2024. That's yesterday. I've often questioned my way of transitioning. Now the process begins. I'm not saying that I'm dying, but I'm saying that cancer is a hard battle and you got to be strong to fight it. And I'm facing everything that I'm confronted with. Then I said, and this is all on my website, I am at the beginning stages and this is new territory for me. So I await the doctor's next call, all of the appointments and the dates and the rest of all of the connected behavior characteristic with the cancer patient, which naturally follows. I'm ready for it. Okay, my mind is ready. Thank God I don't have dementia. I know what I can look forward to. All right. And then it says, I should be doing a YouTube live sometime today. I'm doing it now. Uh, I, wait a minute, today, I am already experiencing a bit of pain. The tumor is located in the under my left armpit right here. And, but I've experienced 80 years of my life. And don't get me wrong, I'd love to live many more years, and I hope that I can fight this thing, but it's coming. But to tell you the truth, and I got to share this with you guys, I am excited about this a little bit in a very, very positive way. And I think that's my guess that was leaving. So the tumor excites me. I'm excited by how it's going to change and affect me. I remember when Carlton Pearson passed away. I remember he went down tremendously at that disease that he had. And he was a man of faith and believed in God. And this is why I'm doing this for you guys to see the way a man of faith comes to grips with his transitioning. Let's talk about it as I go through it. Let's talk about the pain. Let's talk about all that. I think it's healthy to do that. And that's why I put this big paragraph here on on my website. I want you to, I'm just trying to see who's there. I just want you to get a glimpse of what I'm trying to share with you. And when I got through putting this down, writing this out piece, I was thinking and I continued to speak. Now, don't get me wrong. I may have many more years left, and I hope that I do, but to tell you the truth, I'm excited about transitioning in a very positive way. no negative thoughts, no gigantic mistakes in my life that I stand ready to repent of. I don't do that. I think that's ridiculous. I think that a person should live every day of his life steadfast focus upon the creator. If there is really a creator, we need to give mention to him, whether we have uh, um, uh, any kind of proof of that at all. Give homage to he that is greater than ourselves, that created us. And I thank God. But to tell you the truth, I'm excited. No regrets. But I've been watching the news lately. Have you been watching it? How about these wars, huh? I was talking with someone in my family, and they mentioned to me that, as I believe, and I mentioned to them that I thought that America was headed towards a civil war. Did you hear me out? A civil war. I've been watching some of the news clips from Trump and from the Biden camp and from all the other camps. There's so much hatred spewed over the internet. Kind of makes me feel like, golly, I am. So you can see the pain that I'm experiencing. But I was saying that I am pretty fed up from what I see. I think that I'm seeing the dismantling of what's left of my country, dismantling of it. Supreme Court justices with the flag upside down on the property, and when you learn what that means, presidential candidates using swear words and derogatory terms for manure to address the chief of state. Stuff that we put in front of our children to see, that we classify as entertainment, our freedom. That's on both the homosexual and the heterosexual side. Violence everywhere. And when it confronts us, we hide our faces and say, oh my God, how could this ever take place? You ask me how I feel since I've contracted cancer. I'm saying thank you. I understand. I have a completely perspective life, or perspective point of view of living life. Now, since I have matured, and listen to me, Mark, you're going to mature into an older man. And I want you to allow the change to happen. I'm talking to you on this Saturday afternoon. It's like you're right across from me. The young man that was here, and if you recognize his face, he's married now. And he came to visit me because he was having difficulties dealing with that union that he agreed to manifest himself in. I asked him, are you willing to tell the audience what you've learned from listening to a man. I kind of like it because there was a difference of ages of men in my office here as we spoke about it. And you could see that all of them did not and could not agree upon the same thing, albeit all of them are men. Hmm. What will it take? That's the question. What will it take for us to come to the realization that marriage is a contract? I didn't get married, but I did get married under a contract. But when I counsel young men today, they don't seem to understand what contract it's under. All right, then, Mark, you please let me know that you're coming before you come so that I can be presentable. But I know it would not matter to you how I look because you know I love you anyway. And that's just the way it is. I don't I don't dress up for no men. Hey, I want to see that man. I have on my little African wrap to keep warm and my because you know what this sports t-shirt keeps the tumor warm and keeps the body temp because when it gets cold, it has a tendency to ache more. And it's a new pain that I have never experienced before. I've been taking Advil, and when it bothers me, I recline on my pillow couch here in my office to relax. I had about four men in the office here earlier. We had a wonderful 2 hour discussion talking about how men should relate to the things that confront them every day instead of necessarily, I don't mean this in a negative sense, but men should not respond like a woman in every situation that they respond to. They should respond like men. And I'm apt to say that each of us respond very differently from each other, but men are distinctively different from women. And I believe because I'm a man, and I can say this from 80 years' experience, I've never succumbed to the wit of a woman unless I wanted to for mere fun, for the fact to see how she would try to wiggle back. I never feel competing with a woman. There is no competition. I see, I know the way a lot of you took that statement. You're going to take that thing, cut it and paste it and put it somewhere and make it look like through the means of our artificial intelligence and your biased mindset against my disposition and language that I am that. And I did not say that. That's what I've just proven to you. When you look for a person to make a mistake, you can take his language and artificially put it together for the non thinker that needs somebody on a quick YouTube channel to think for him. And the next thing you know, you're following oblivion. There's a civil war coming to this country. The Civil War is head this way, in the same way, because there's two major wars going on in the world today. And the one going on with the Palestinians right now is experiencing a horrendous defeat of its civilian population, to which it appears most people from the civilized countries seem to have a nonchalant attitude about these killings and deny the fact that they are even taking place by their refusal to, through land and sea and air and foot and any means necessary, get the supplies and the goods in to save the rest of the Palestinian population. And if not, the bewilderment that this old man suffers right now is that I was told in my ancient religion that my colonizers gave me of Christianity to put this Jewish nation at the high of all the nations of people, that these people are exactly and extremely God's chosen people, the beloved of his heart, the ones that can never sin. And all the peoples of the Bibles are told if anyone tries to come against these people, they will be obliterated. That is what I studied over 30 or 40 years in the Bible. Are we praising this country for this? Are we praising this country for this? Are we afraid to own up to the fact that it looks like most of the civilized world is doing that? Oh, and I know what happened on October 6th. I know how many innocents died. And I believe that punishment has been rendered enough because I'm a man. I believe in army retaliation and all that. I tire as an American, as an African American male. I tire of seeing women crying over their babies. I want to tell myself this is a staged event to get me to feel a certain way. But then when the very station that broadcast it is being bombed, no doubt in my mind, someone doesn't want this truth to get out. And most people around the known popular world are silent. You want to know the way a man that just discovered he has cancer that could take him out? To think that this is going on in the world that he lives in, and then ask him why would he want to live in this? And I'm not going to discuss Bosnia. We know what that's all about. It's all about the Benjamins. So, as I deal with my mortality, and it's entered into my mind, it has entered into my mind, John, you're transitioning. Darn it, I'm 80 years old. What would you expect of a man of 80? You would look forward to it. You would expect him to be happy to transcend. If he has a belief in his head to go see his ancestors that have passed on years ago, then let him go and see them. That is a wonderful thing for him to do. If he wants to speak with his mother again, let him go speak with her again. Bless his heart. His heart will be happy as he remember what his mommy does for him. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm a spiritual guru. That's what I am. You want to spiritually? Hey, you can esoterically get in touch with your mother. You can. Yes, you can. They would tell you in Christianity don't practice that, but what? Well, you shortchanging yourself. It can happen. My mommy has brought me many, many, many days of peace, and I lost her in life when I was 12 years old. Don't you get it twisted. Yes, you can. I know some of you don't want to believe me. Some of you don't want to believe me. I don't know why. It's easy to believe me. If you don't have anything to latch on to, you're going to suffer when this civil war comes. They say, you're African American, you like me, you live in the city, okay? You have no bonds with anyone but maybe your social network that you talk with. When this civil war starts, don't worry. All these white wires on the walls, they won't be necessary. There won't be nothing traveling through that because they've got to cut the means of communication. We've seen that in one of the wars already. No, both of those wars over there. They cut that immediately. That means no free access of information. You won't know what's happening anywhere in this new civil war. You won't be able to go to the weather in each state and find out what's happening and hear their weather men and women talk about it. Oh no. You'll be lucky if you know what's happening 20 miles from you. And the only thing that you will be concerned with is what is within a radius of about 5 miles of you. And you better have a heads up about that. And if you live in the inner city like I do, you better know a lot of people. I better hope that people respect white hair, wisdom, aged people, people with heart conditions, and other conditions. Because when this civil war comes, if not, I'm just going to fall in the gutter. This presentation is for adults. I want you to think about this. I know many of you will listen to the first 10 minutes and, oh, I don't want to hear John. John is trying to scare me again. You better listen. I never in my life heard politicians talk about each other like this. I've never experienced the putrid hatred that one party has for the next. Neighbors, neighbors in America. Yeah, I was one of those naive persons that believed in a white picket fence around a 2-bedroom house. I bought one to prove it. A television antenna, trampoline in the backyard, ping pong table, hamburgers, popcorn, drive-in theater, all that stuff. I believed in it only to see it as a part of a horror movie. It, the them that came to get them. Because it's all turned out to be fantasy, foolishness. Now I've lived and it appears like God in his infinite wisdom and glory has given me and allowed me to retain this tumor. And it's cancerous. And I have the privilege and the honor to now live and see what happens. And when I come on live, I'll share it with you, how I feel. The ups and the downs. If I feel angry at God one day, I'll come on, I'll try to be decent. But I'll come on and says, I'm angry at God because I had so much pain today. But then when I think of his goodness to me. Oh, wait a minute. Watch it. When I think of his goodness to me, oh, I know. This is the way let me put it to you this way. This is the way you do life. My senior citizens, my friend, my fellow, this is the way you do life. You do life like you know it's going to end shortly. Now, if God has reasoning for you myriads of days and you do life in that way, can you imagine what your life would look like? A tremendous success story, full of laughter, joy, and some things that look like folly, but not exactly. It all makes sense. Let's get back to my theme, feeling the tension. I was thinking yesterday when I got the news about this tumor, I said, now how am I going to share this with the people that I love and that I speak with all the time? Well, be candid with it, I said. Be candid with it, be matter of factual about it. Tell them that you're going to talk about it, that I'll talk about the diagnosis every time I get it. I'll give it to you. And if I come on one day and you see my face all wretched and twisted and stuff like that, know that that is life. Don't turn away from me. Embrace me such as I am. I've seen worse on YouTube. I'm not necessarily trying to get more viewers. That has never been my attempt. And so I'll repeat it again. Watch me at your own risk. I may not be entertaining at all, but I may say something within that 90 minutes frame of objective that could change your life. Remember, the sage is aged. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I was thinking about an experience that I had with my kid sister, and I was telling her, Donna, she's 4 years my minor. She is herself and myself are I want to say it properly. Yes, we're the only two left of our five siblings. We're the only two left. And I told her, I said, well, now you have an opportunity to outlive the sage and go on. If this thing is, wants to eat fast and they can't get it all. And she said, yes, it looks like that. And so I said, now what you have to do is say it right and with dignity. And we had a long conversation espousing the idea that we came from a great peoples. And I thought about when we lived in the Will Rogers County projects on 103rd and Central. That was across streets. And in these projects were Quonset huts, that military Quonset huts that was converted into living spaces for Black and minority soldiers that had gotten out of World War II. And it was there in Watts. And I recall when we lived in those places, and I was a young man, and Donna was my sister. She was a little girl, and she would play in the backyard because I remember specifically during the summertime, mommy would put these little short pants on Donna, put her hair in ponytails. She would play out in the back in the dirt. She and her friends would stump the dirt up, and a cloud of dust would come, and Donna would just be happy, grinning, laughing. I remember that like that was yesterday. Beautiful when you can think back and do things like that. I certainly hope that this coming civil war won't destroy our ability to do that. But seriously, I've never seen this much banter out of candidates in all my days. What does it do to me? It totally repulses me. Totally repulses me. It insults my intelligence as an older man. From both sides. When you listen to the points that each so called candidate, if you can call them that, I mean, I admit when I was a pastor, I wanted to do a few scandalous things when I was standing behind the pulpit. I never overthought them, but I thought them. And I wanted to be scandalous, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Let me explain something to you here, and then you can understand what I'm saying. When I was a theologue, I looked at what the writ said, God said about certain things. I practically never considered the human aspect of what was going on. I was of such arrogance. Listen to me. As a pastor, to believe that I could suggest at the behest of another group of pastors or clerics that I could suggest that a whole class of peoples, excuse me for doing house cleaning in front of you, but I don't like looking horrible. For me to even suggest that a whole class of people would miss the favors of God if they did not do what I suggested. I try not to never ever do that over the pulpit because I knew that I could not command authority to do stuff like that and that God had never given me the authority to do stuff like that. And that is the kind of stuff that I've seen these pastors doing year after year after year while I was in ministry. And for that, I was wrong. But in the end, I recall telling everyone, make your own decision. You know what? Let me tell you, I was thinking about the Jim Jones cult. I could never be a part of that group because it was just so easy to think through what he was saying. I said, wait a minute, you got special guys with rifles all around this compound. And since I'm talking, you taking my name down and my picture? What you trying to do? I know there's 900 of us here. What you trying to do? Make sure we got the right one. See, don't join a cult. Don't join a cult. There are political cults out there. They'll promise you things. They'll promise you things that they know they could never deliver unto you. I want some soda water. Literally. Excuse me. Ah. Reason that I roll around in my office is because it's easier for me than getting up, moving from place to place. No, I can't sit down too long because if I sit down too long, you know what happens? Oh no, I gotta get them walking around. Oh yeah. It's called bubbly, and it's grape, I guess. It keeps my throat livened. But what do you guys think? Am I kind of out of my mind about the Civil War? And how about the recent deaths? Almost every week I'm hearing about famous people or worldly entertainers. What I mean, they're known all over the world. If I were truthful about something that I just thought of, something that I just watched on TV last night, you would not believe me. And you would say, John, you are a friend to no one. So, having said that, I'm not going to say anything about this particular thing because I do not want to advertise for this TV show because I'm set back by it. Some things shame me to the degree. Listen, some things shame me to the degree that to speak of them in truth and sincerity would cause rocks to crack. I can't speak of this shame because it was made to look beautiful. I can't speak of this shame because many of the people that I know meet and confer to affirm this shame. See, you're talking about these real Jews coming out speaking for their people, right? Let me speak up for my people. Some things are shameful. I want to talk with a few of you independent thinkers out there that's thinking with me. Just because some, don't let me use bad words, buffoon, I call him that, tells you to join the crazy brigade doesn't mean that you have to run and join the circus. Listen to me. Because old school wisdom, I'm telling you, after these old creatures like me die off, and I just told you what I told you today, you better listen. Because this needs to be up there to give you wisdom. You let devastation and war come to this country in a way that you never thought about it. On the streets of our local cities and things like that. People just getting tired of the liberal Democrats. People just getting overwhelmed by the conservative Republicans. People that are independent and they're mad at humanity because of what the humans are doing to the animals. Blood was shed that way. Then there's other people that love a rock on the planet and their ancestors are buried in them and they would throw away their future for the sake of surviving the memory of the rock dust. I thought when I was a cleric that the greatest thing that I ever had the privilege of teaching to human beings was love. And my goodness, I experienced it today. 3 young black men were sitting around, and we were trying to convince one young black man that is married to go back to their wife. And we convince him that regardless of how she's acting, what she's doing, if love is the supersedent that spawned the whole thing, you can't stay away. You must go back in order to fulfill what love has promised. I said it has nothing to do with the particular marriage vow of a country that teaches you of White Houses with little white picket fences and air conditioning in every home and an electric car in every garage. It's not that. That's just another American pipe dream that goes up in smoke when the value through finance has run its course. Let me tell you something. If you have not learned how to love adequately, I'm not going to say as my church teaches, as my Bible teaches, as my holy book teaches, if you have not learned how to adequately love another human being, you are of all men most miserable and are women. And you don't know what you're missing because love is the greatest thing that you can share with any human being. Now, first of all, get in touch with yourself. Love yourself, boy. One brother saw another brother that he hadn't seen in a long time. And the first thing he did when the brother came by to visit him was to take him in his bathroom and shave him, cut his hair, and give him a haircut and a face cut. And he said, brother, don't ever let yourself go. Because when you let yourself go, you cover the beauty of what this man has made us both. I just smiled. Said he was looking like a hermit. He was looking like a hermit all wigged out. I spent 5, 6 hours today just bringing a man back to planet Earth. Because sometimes when you get too much of a system that is overwhelming you through tremendous pressure, you need someone to love you genuinely without interference. Can you do that? Can you love someone genuinely without interference and get the results that you need to get? Hmm? Because if you can't, so that's what I'm doing on this first day, first 24 hours after my diagnosis of having this. I forget what kind of cancer they say it is. Very small thing, and it just lodged under my left arm. Now I know I can talk, and my daughters told me not to do this. My daughters told me not to do this. They said, Daddy, don't be talking all this stuff because you cannot say that you're going to be affected by death by this tumor. I understand that. But I want you to watch me. Watch me crack up if I crack up. Let me know whether and then you can ask, how do you do that? I may answer you and say this: greater is greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. You say, oh, I heard that from somewhere. Oh, I'm sorry. Greater is the God that is in me than that other thing that thinks he's God that rules the wickedness of men's hearts. See, I'm still a theologue. I still teach that. I want you to know that God is greater in you now than he ever has been. And check this out. As I go on in life and get older in life, you're going to sense sometimes my mind is slipping. I'm 80 years old. By 90, my mind's going to be then slipped a little bit. And I hope that the Civil War don't take everything away, that we have some kind of way to keep this system going. Because I'm going to tell you, you can, hey, just try to look for me. I'm just going to be John Coleman wherever I go. I don't need a fake name. And when you no longer see me, I'm no longer here to be heard. And when I'm no longer heard, I'm no longer needed. When no longer needed, when no longer heard, that's it. But today, I just wanted to relay that information with you about the tumor. And I just wanted you to know. Please don't be saddened or succumb under grief and all that kind of stuff. I don't do well with that. I'm alive. You see those wrinkles in my forehead, that comes from pain. And if you see that, don't say, "Oh, are you hurting?" Just say, "He must be hurting." And you get a smile. But I appreciate all of the people that's been talking to me about the health foods and the stuff like that, because I'm going to have to start a lot of things if I'm going to progress in this life. I want to live till 2025. I want to see the cars fly. That's what I want to see. I want to take a ride to the Buddha market in a flying car. And then I'll know I am truly a part of artificial intelligence. Thank you for coming to my website and watching my clips. Thank you, Mark, for setting in. Mark, and let me say this. Sometimes it's good to have you as my only company because I like to see the people responding to this after the fact. And it's Saturday. A day like today, they're probably looking at the playoffs or something. So, anyhow, God bless you guys and take care.